meeting to order.
I'll call a meeting to order. Thanks for coming, everybody.
So with that, and I will, I'm going to read the OPMA. Wait a second. I'm having a minor issue here. Hold on 1 second. Okay. No, we should be good. Okay. Well, my computer is frozen. All right, here we go. There we go. All right, so Chairman has called the meeting to order. Reading of the Open Public Meetings Act statement. On December 30th, 2019, notice of this meeting was emailed to the Courier Post and Gloucester City newspapers for publication and duly posted on the official Bellmawr Redevelopment Agency website. The corresponding official notice to Borough Clerk was emailed on January 2nd, 2020, which included requests for posting notice to the official Borough website and bulletin board. On April 15th, 2020, notice of this meeting's location change to online was emailed to the Courier Post and Gloucester City News for publication and duly posted on the official Bellmawr Redevelopment Agency website. The corresponding official notice to clerk was emailed the same day, parenthetically 4/15/2020, which includes, which included requests for posting notice on the official Borough Bellmawr website and bulletin board. All requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been met in compliance with the Sunshine Law. With that, it will bring us to the flag salute. Let me leave the pledge there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
United States of America, and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation under God,
one nation under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all.
We are going to have to work on that.
What's that? The pledge?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like row, row, row your boat, but I'm sorry for the levity.
All right, so we got the roll call. Board of Commissioners, Chairman Frank Philippek.
Here.
Vice Chair Jay Gargoza.
Here.
Commissioner Paul DeAngelis.
Here.
Commissioner Steve Haggerty. Commissioner Nick Kapados. Commissioner Tom Whitman.
Here.
Commissioner Neil Patel. He is not here presently, but he has stated that he will join the meeting as soon as possible. And then just the management and professionals, myself, Joshua Trier, the Executive Director. I am here. Michael J. McKenna, Esquire, Agency Solicitor. Present. Dennis McNulty, Agency Engineer.
Here.
All right.
I'm here.
And
Mr. Traeger, can I ask you to inquire if that is a member of the public with an open mic? I think it might be Ann, and she probably doesn't realize.
Hi.
Okay. Take care of that, Josh.
yeah, so if anybody has joined again, just to keep the meeting flowing and the background noise at a minimum, because again, we are recording. I'm going to ask any members of the public that are on the meeting to mute from your end. And then when it comes time for the public portion, you can unmute yourself and we'll go from there.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Also, with the regular meeting agenda, typical from here, the reading of the minutes, communications, commissioners report, executive director's report, solicitor's report, new business, public portion, and adjournment. That'll lead us to, we'll start with the reading of the minutes. And just a note on that for the board members, when motioning or seconding, after stating aye or a motion or second or the vote, please identify yourself by name so I can record into the record appropriately. And with that, additionally too, if you hear a slight pause, that's not me going to sleep, because I am advancing the slide deck, and I am trying to watch the meeting portal for any new users or new participants, and any other tech issues like that. So if you hear a pause, that's just me kind of regrouping. All right, so from there we'll have the reading of the minutes, March 26, 2020.
I make the motion, Frank Philippik makes the motion to not read the minutes for today's meeting, last meeting.
Thank you, Chairman.
Council DeAngelis, second.
All right, thank you, Paul. All in favor? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. That will bring us to communications. I have none. So that will advance us to the commissioners' reports. Commissioner Frank Philippik, or Chairman Frank Philippik.
No report. The only report I have is the city of, Bellmawr is going to have an open meeting next month on redevelopment. So if anybody from the public wants to attend, I'd appreciate them coming to the meeting. That's all I got.
All right. Thank you, Chairman. Rather than run down the list, and again, there's people that may be joining or may not be with the rest of the board members. Do any of the other board members have anything they want to state at this time?
I don't. Jay Gargoza.
All right, Jay.
I'm listening now.
Okay. All right. Very good. And that will bring us to the executive director's report. Again, we're utilizing this remote meeting platform that I think is working out pretty well. From the last meeting to this meeting, I was able to identify, some areas for improvement and enhancement. Particularly with the utilization of a slide deck, which just seems, much more conducive to this new forum. In addition to that, the audit 2019 has gotten pushed back by us, by Bowman, and by the state. They are relaxing their deadline accordingly, like everybody else. And I'll be working with Bowman next week on all the document culling and reports and all that other stuff. So at this point, from a long shot, I would say that we could possibly look to present the audit 2019 at the May meeting, but more likely, I think I'm more comfortable with stating by the June meeting. In addition to that, along similar lines, the required educational courses, the NJDCA has followed suit, and through Rutgers Center for Government Services, they are offering these courses online now, which is, to me, is fantastic. So again, I know, before a lot of the issues were that they were only being offered in New Brunswick and East Jabit, but I think this presents an excellent opportunity to knock these out. And these are the sessions that are scheduled through the end of June. It's fully anticipated that once all the COVID-19 restrictions and limitations are relaxed, that they will go back to public, in public or live instruction courses at the New Brunswick campus. So, again, I can't, stress enough that this is, it's a pretty good opportunity to knock these out. So I did send an email about it last week. At the close of this email or this meeting, I will resend it again. So please take a look at it. And if you have any questions, you can always email me back. And that is it for me. Is there any other questions for me before I kick it over to our solicitor?
Nope.
All right. Very
No,
good.
not for me.
All right. Very good. Mr. McKenna, all yours, sir.
Well, thanks. Good evening, Chairman Philippik, Commissioners, Mr. Traeger, McNulty, and members of the public that might be listening, let me first just say, I hope each of you and yours are really well, healthy, coping with this present challenge. Let me get to the part of my report that Mr. Traeger has laid out for me. Current status. The status of the present status of the execution of the agreements is generally pretty well summarized in the executive director's report. And here I really should say, this is kind of impressive the way this has been set up. I've got towns that are foundering on how to do this, and I have to confess, without asking Josh, I'm telling them I think if they wanted some advice, Josh would be willing to help them because this has gone pretty smoothly. But beyond that ED report, Council has just recently, as the mayor referenced, executed authorizations for the redeveloper to advance the Tidelands in general and Green Acre applications. But in addition, and in a very, I would say, thoughtful development, they determined to do a public rollout on the authorization of the redevelopment agreement. And by public rollout, I mean with a posting of the documents in advance online, a presentation by the redeveloper, et cetera. Now, this isn't required, but it seems to me, and I said this to Howard Long when he discussed it with me, it's good governance. It certainly furthers the interest of transparency. And in fact, I'm going to suggest that we do the same to a lesser degree because council will have already done it. If and when council acts affirmatively, and I think they've selected their date. This isn't public notice here, but I think they've selected their date as May 18th, a special meeting, single purpose meeting, just for that very topic. And as it occurs after our meeting on the same date, and because we are, consistently dedicated to the idea that they go first, that them being the lead authority, we'll be talking with you in a little bit about having a special meeting. And I think Josh has identified a potentially available date. When we get to new business, we probably should authorize the director to notice for that special meeting for the limited purpose of authorizing the execution of the RDA agreement by this agency, provided council has acted in approving. We don't need a formal written resolution, just a motion in a second. So that's the current status and the current of the documents. Now, and the current timeline. Now, after that, I think in response to the request last month, I'd indicated there's lots of work to be done after that. But that's where the rubber's really hitting the road in terms of pursuing these other agency approvals with the writing of checks, for instance, in the hundreds of thousands of dollars for Tidelands approvals and whatnot. The second item on my report has to do with the explanation of resolutions on the agenda. Now, the first one and the fourth one, I don't think require any explanation because the first one is simply an authorization, a resolution authorizing Josh to do this meeting this way. And the last is to pay our bills, and my advice is always to pay our bills. But resolution 27 and 28 are responsive to the charge I received last month to get our procedures up to date with our manual, such that 427, that resolution that you're going to see, is directed towards providing the template that is agency guidance going forward for anybody who you want to hire, so that we can comply with our manual that requires job descriptions and that type of thing. So it doesn't apply to anybody in particular, but merely provides the guidance to management that this is what we'd like to see done when we hire, just to keep ourselves out of trouble, but most importantly, to keep ourselves compliant with the management or with the manual. Resolution 28 is directed to a separate provision of the manual that requires a job description for the executive director. Now, I have done that job description in conjunction with Josh, I have to say, because I wanted to know what the details were of what he's been doing. But most of this comes from our, not just the practice of what's happening, but the law. The law is pretty clear on what the executive director's qualifications have to be, what his role is, that he serves at the will of the agency and that type of stuff. So instead of having the opportunity for misunderstandings, I drew a job description, and that job description is authorized in Resolution 28. But what I didn't do, and what I thought I was going to be able to do, was actually put together an agreement, a compensation agreement that wouldn't be a promise of employment because, as I said, the executive director serves at the will of the agency. I couldn't do that because it looks like the terms, we are going to continue on with the economic terms as they are, but it is not for me to say what compensation ought to be, whether there ought to be adjustments going forward after 3 years. It's beyond my authority. So if Mr. Traeger will likely address that in between now and the whatever meeting it's appropriate to do it. For now, I've done as much as I can within my authority for the resolution. So I don't propose here, adjustments to the terms. We're not there yet. I have no authority to do it. And quite simply, we got a pretty full plate. So, Mr. Traeger's been patient so far. It's probably going to be a better time once we get these RDAs signed and we know we know that we have a reason to continue to exist. But at that time, I'm going to suggest we should revisit the idea of an agreement that puts the terms down on paper that are presently really just what we've been doing since 2017. So I didn't go all the way with the job you asked me to do on 28, but that's the reason why. So I hope those explanations are on point. If you have a question when we get to them, I'm happy to address. But I think the resolutions are in pretty good shape, as are the job descriptions as far as they go. That's my report.
All right.
Good job.
Any questions from Mike from the board before we advance to new business?
No.
Okay.
No.
No, Jake Aragosa, no.
Okay, I got you. It's fine. So we are now going to new business. Again, I will remind everybody if during motions and seconds, or if a roll call is wanted, like payment of bills, such as payment of bills, to state your name after your vote. And with that, that will bring us to resolution 04:026-20, authorizing facilitation of agency regular meetings via online public access meeting portal.
Frank Philippek, I'll make the motion.
I'll second it, Jake Aragosa.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right. Mike, on those two resolutions, given that they're going to end up in the policy book, you're going to want a roll call on those, correct?
Well,
It's up to you.
roll call never hurts, but it not being financial, I wouldn't have called for it. It never hurts.
Okay. All right. With that, we'll go to, I'm sorry, just let me check the portal here one more second. All right. Resolution number 04:027-20, adopting addendum to the agency's administrative and personnel policy and procedures guidelines. This is section G12, and this represents the official job description template, which would apply to any future hires or any positions that are identified as being in need for the agency. And again, this will be the template that is just going to apply to whatever position that may be.
So moved, Jake Aragosa.
All right, thank you, Jay.
Paul DeAngelo, second.
All right, thank you, Paul. We're going to do a roll call. Chairman Frank Philippek.
Yes, Frank Philippek.
All right, Vice Chair Garagoza.
Yes, Aragosa.
All right, Commissioner DeAngelis.
Yes.
All right, Commissioner Whitman.
Yes, Tom Whitman.
All right. And I believe up until this, yep, and I believe that that includes all the board members on the line. All right, so brings us to resolution number 04:028-20, adopting addendum to the agency's administrative and personnel policy and procedures guidelines, section B-2A, job description, executive director, and I'm not going to reiterate the what everything Mike just said, but again, this one is the actual job description for the executive director position, and as Mike stated, it is largely mandated by local housing and redevelopment law. So, with that, use a motion.
So moved, Jay Garagosa.
All right.
Second, Tom Whitman.
All right, thank you, Mr. Whitman. Do another roll call here. Chairman Frank Philippek,
Yes, Frank Philippek.
Vice Chair Garagosa,
Yes.
Commissioner DeAngelis,
Yes.
and Commissioner Whitman.
Yes, Tom Whitman.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. And then the last resolution of the evening is number 04:029-20, authorizing the payment of outstanding bills.
Frank Philippek, make a motion.
I'll second it, Jay Garagosa.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Roll call on this one as well. Vice Chair or Chairman Frank Philippek,
Yes, Frank Philippek.
Vice Chair Garagosa,
Yes.
Commissioner DeAngelis,
Yes.
Commissioner Whitman.
Yes.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Mike, you wanted some sort of official motion here?
I did, but do you want to float that date that looked to be, well, why don't you just float that date? It's after the May 18th
Right.
council meeting called specially for that purpose.
Okay, so that's
What I'm
May.
looking for, folks, is to authorize Josh simply to advertise for the conduct of a special meeting like this.
That would be specifically pertaining to.
Yeah, single purpose meeting just for the RDA, and only if council moves affirmatively. No need for a meeting if they don't.
Right. So, okay. So, knowing the council is going to possibly go on May 18th, correct?
Is that right, Paul? Do I have the date right? Because I think that's what I was told, only because that supposedly it was the same night as our meeting at 5. Do you know?
I believe so.
Okay. Let's go with that, because I know I was told same night as ours, and the 18th is the same as ours. So.
All right. Well, we have time to confirm it. So, so May 18th, to be safe. Oh, wait, you have, all right. I forgot. Paul is going to have a caucus meeting at 5.
Yes.
We could do it on the 21st, but it would have to be at like 4 to accommodate Paul and Commissioner Haggerty.
We
I mean,
had
we're
to have a
talking-
1-hour meeting.
What's that?
We had
Mike,
to-
oh, I'm sorry. You're right. It's actually a longer meeting. All right.
Actually, I was going the other way, Josh. Even at that, we have presented already, David and I have presented to council, or have presented to the agency. So I think an hour probably would do it. I don't think we've ever gone past 30 minutes. This meeting's 30 minutes at this point. We started a little late. But I'll be guided by the members. I mean,
right. I mean, if we wanted to do it,
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Why don't we just cancel that meeting and set another date and have everything done all at one time? If they don't approve it, then we don't need a meeting anyway.
well, then we'd lose. Yeah.
we're always going to have administrative items, payment of bills, and such, and things like that.
Can't we do that at the same time if the council approves the what's name? Couple days after their meeting?
There's no impediment to consolidating the meetings. there isn't, if that's what you want to do.
Well, to me, it makes sense. If they vote on the 18th, then we know and call a meeting after the 18th and give it everything, both of them done at the same time.
Well, but here's the thing. I'm going to need a meeting in May to do the administrative items regardless. So I would have to, I mean.
Well,
so
we're going to have a meeting in May.
Yeah, what he's saying is,
I understand what he's saying. I fully understand what he's saying, but there was a caveat. I'm saying if we do this with the special meeting, if we move it, then there can't be a caveat. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, it's got to be more than a single purpose notice.
Correct.
I see your point. Yes, you'll have to
Well,
say.
can't we make it? Well, can't we make it as a? We're just changing the meeting and put everything on the agenda. It's an open meeting and everything.
Well, Mr. Chairman, we have to, when we do a special meeting, and this would be a special meeting, we have to say what we expect to be on the agenda. And we know, in all transparency, we know that the RDA will be on the meeting. But it's no big deal. We just have to, Josh's point is we just have to include it in the notes.
Okay, that's what I mean. Do that, you know, because, you know, I'm thinking about the two councilmen that, you know, they got a meeting at 5. They might not be able to make it at, 4 or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, we don't want to go before anyway.
All right. So, well, here's the deal then. I mean, without, you know what? So if we're not hanging on whether or not on the 18th, and we're moving our meeting completely, then we'll just move it to the 20th, and that's it.
There you go.
That way, you know what I mean? Because the thing
That makes
about
sense.
not being able to do it on the Wednesday the 20th
Right.
is that not having sufficient time to notice the meeting.
Right. But this way you'll just notice it
We'll
now.
just do it. We'll just move the meeting, to the 20th.
So we need a
That's
motion.
what I meant.
If that's okay with everybody, you just need a motion and second.
I'll make a motion. We make it on the 20th.
Okay.
I'll second that, Paul DeAngelo.
All right.
One of the questions. Same time, folks?
5 o'clock.
Yeah, 5 o'clock is good.
Okay.
Sure.
By the way, Josh, I just joined the call about 5 minutes ago.
Oh, hey. Great.
Hey, Eileen, how you
Thank
doing?
Great, Neil. Thank you. All right. Yeah. So we're good then. I need an all in favor.
Aye.
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 All right. All right. So we're good from there. Is there anything under new business? Any issues or questions that need to be addressed? No. Okay.
None.
So, hello. Anyone? No. Okay.
No, no.
Nope.
No.
With that, I'm going to ask members of the public, in preparation for going to the public portion, you can now unmute yourselves if you do have a question. And well, that's where we're at. So, Ann, I know I saw you on the line. Mr. Sharp, I know I saw you as well. And maybe a couple others. So, Ann, I believe I saw you on the line. There you are. You have your hand up. She has her hand up. I can see it. All right, Ann. Again, for the record.
Ann Fourline, 225 McClellan Avenue, South Jersey Observer. I was just a little confused. Is council meeting next month because of Memorial Day, and that's what you guys were trying to figure out a date for this special meeting? I was just confused.
Mike, I'll take this.
Yes, no, we were referring, our whole discussion just now was us having a special meeting
Okay.
so that we could be after council's action.
Oh, okay.
You see, we wanted to move our date because it's the same day.
Understand.
You know, we don't want to push into their time for their meeting. So, no, everything had to do with us, not them.
Okay, that was just my
Ann?
question. Yo, how are you?
Ann? Good, how
Yeah.
are you? Listen, and they're having a public meeting on the redevelopment.
Yes,
I would like to see you attend. So
I would love
if you
to
have any
attend.
questions, okay, if you have any questions against it or for it, it'd be a good time for you to be there.
If you wave your magic wand and get us all out of quarantine, I'll be the first one there.
Oh no, it's going to be online.
There's no there.
It's going to be online, man.
I'm coming anyway. I'm going to be outside of Borough
Okay.
Hall. I have a special. Yes, definitely. I'll be there, and then I'll post it to try to get as much interest as we can, because it is important. And thank you, Mayor, for making
Hey,
sure that I
thanks
knew
for
of it.
everything you do for us, Ann. I appreciate it.
I'm
Thank you very
trying,
much.
Mayor. Okay. Should I put my hand down now, Josh?
Unless you have other questions, Ann.
No, that was it. That was it. All right. Thanks, everybody. Stay safe.
Good night. Same to you, Ann.
Okay, you too.
Okay.
Good, thank you, Ann. All right, I did see Mr. Sharp on here. Mark, if you're still on the line, did you have a question? No? All right. Any other members of the public that are on the line? Now would be the time. Give it another few seconds. Chairman, I don't see nobody from the public having another question. They should have closed the public portion.
I'd like to close the public portion.
All right, and with nothing further, gentlemen, that brings us to an adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn. Before we
I
adjourn, I
second
want to
it.
thank everybody for being here. And I hope you all stay safe, and God bless all of you.
Oh.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, guys. I couldn't make it on time, but I caught the tail end of it.
No, no
Is
problem.
everybody
How you
okay?
doing, Neil? Okay?
Neil,
Yeah,
is that
I'm okay.
Neil? Is
Okay,
that?
thanks.
I'll take that as your second.
Yes, that's my second.
Plus,
Yeah,
it'll get you on the
second it.
record that you were here.
There you go.
Okay.
All right,
All
and
right. Sounds good.
And
Everybody stay safe.
all right, with that, all in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
All right. Thank you,
Good night,
gentlemen.
everybody.
Good night.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
Good night.